friends, today I'm going to take you on what we like to call a micro adventure. So what the heck is a micro adventure to start? So for those of you who are following along on my past videos, my YouTube channel, you see that I love to take these big adventure trips. I love playing outside, long outdoors things, and I'm potentially training, or hopefully training right now, for a ultra this fall. And so it might seem like the only option you have for getting outdoors, big outdoors adventure days, anything that's like that has to be these big, epic, like long or really hard, really intense days or trips to these incredible, beautiful places. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So today I'm going to take you on a micro adventure. So last weekend I was in Colorado with my friends having so much fun outside, but now I'm back in Georgia. And well, yeah, I could have driven to the mountains this weekend. I had a lot of work to do. I slept in. I, don't have time for that right now, but I still want to get outside. It's 70 degrees. It's a beautiful day. And there's no reason I can't do that locally, even if it's not as big or adventurous or stoke filled. So I am here at a small local trail system here regionally within my city here in Athens. And I think so many of you have places like this nearby your house or your apartment or where you live or whatever it is, and you just dismiss it because you think, well, it's not big enough, it's not stokey enough, it's not epic enough. And like I said, that can't be further from the truth. The time you spend outside or trail days or trail miles, they all add up. And I can't tell you how many like easy, flat, or local trails that I got started trail running on that got me to the point where I am today. So don't underestimate these places. When I first started trail running back in the summer of 2016 now, wow, it's been a long time. There was a local little 3-mile trail system in Kentucky where I was living at the time when I was doing my master's, and I was just running laps there in the summer. And when I say laps, I mean like one single 3-mile lap. And that was how I got started trail running. And I think back to that trail all the time and how that trail was like a small pocket of just magic for me to go. I'd run to the trail, do my little loop, and then leave. And it was just so nice for me. And I don't look back at that trail like it was nothing or a waste of time. Like I have such fond memories of being on that trail that someone might brush off as just local and not as adventurous. But micro adventures can be just that. So a micro adventure is essentially a small size, a bite-sized adventure that you go on that doesn't have to be epic. You don't need to drive that far away. It can be local, it can be in your backyard, it can be within walking distance from home. It's just a small adventure that reduces the barriers and obstacles of what you're doing. So me driving a few miles to this trail system today is a great example of that. So I'll be back home, I'll be able to do the other things I didn't do today, but I get to spend some miles outside. I'm not making it a big deal. I didn't need to pack a bunch of gear. It can be a micro adventure, and that's just what it is. It's a small, tiny adventure. And I think that, when we start to view life as a series of opportunities to have small adventures, we can start enjoying and living it more rather than thinking of, well, we have to drag and slog through life until we get the next big thing or the next big trip. But these small trail days add up and they matter and they mean something. Or that walk you even do at a local park, even if it's paved or just outside or just sitting in your backyard with like a music speaker and some like lunch and hang out with your family and friends. Like these can all be tiny bite-sized ways to get more outdoors in our life. Like you don't always have to be doing something big and epic, especially if you're a beginner and you're trying to gain comfort on trails. These are great ways where there's tons of people here. It's really accessible. It's close to home. There's almost always cell service. So if you feel uncomfortable easing into the outdoors, this is how I recommend you get started. And so I am just gonna try to hit 60 minutes today. I probably did about 15, maybe 17 miles of hiking last weekend. So not running, but hiking. So I did get to spend a good time on feet last week, but I haven't ran in 2 weeks because of that, other than my speed work this week. And so I'm a little bit behind on miles. So I am just gonna try to get some time on feet in today and tomorrow, see how my legs feel. We started a new lifting block this week, higher volume. I'm actually not too sore today, which is nice, even though I did lift yesterday. So just going to go for time on feet, about 60 minutes, see how I feel. I also got some new trail shoes, so I'm gonna break those in today, and I will show you those here in a second. And yeah, we're gonna just spend this beautiful day outside for an hour and then go home and get the rest of our adult responsibilities done, because those are the adventures that matter, and that's how we sneak more adventure into our day-to-day life. So let's go. All right, so for those who don't know, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I grew up in the north, so I'm very familiar with winters. And the one perk of living in the south, I lived in Kentucky/Tennessee area for about 3 years, 2.5, and then I've lived in Georgia now this is my 5th year of being here. And so spring comes early, which someone who grew up in the north, that's super nice. So it's incredibly beautiful here today, 70 sunny in March. I've got my glasses on here. These are just Gooders. I'm not affiliated with them, but they're cheap, but pretty good polarizing running glasses because it's a little bright. My eyes got sensitive since living in the South. So we're ready to rock. I'm only doing 60 minutes. So normally I would be very geared out, have a ton of stuff, ready to rock and roll, but I wouldn't bring anything for a road run. And so for something like this, I'm probably not gonna bring anything either. But if you feel comfortable for things like this, you can always wear a vest or a little belt, a trail belt with some water. I think I'll be okay today. But I do have water here. It says Legion. Legion is the supplements I use, but this is just water. It does have some liquid IV in here that I was sipping on the way over here, and then I'll finish when I get done. That's just electrolytes and a little bit of sugar, especially because I'll start sweating here. And then that's pretty much it. You don't really need a ton of gear, like I said, but you could bring things. I do have some fruit snacks. I keep snacks in the back of my car. So that's my adventure hack, is I've got fruit snacks, a big old box of Kroger fruit snacks, which I'll probably munch on my way back home if I feel a little snacky, just for some quick sugar carbs. But you could bring something like some fruit snacks if you really wanted to and something like this. But for 60 minutes, you don't need a ton of food or water for anything crazy. So I feel pretty good. So I'm gonna get ready to rock and roll. And yeah, let's head to the trail.
Smallest tripod ever.
It's serving its purpose.
Awesome.
It's as portable as it can be. So I got caught influencing in the wild trying to show you guys off my my new Ultras. So I'll bring it back down. Let's talk about it. So these are my Ultra Lone Peaks. I get asked about trail shoes quite a bit, and so there's no right or wrong answer. You don't have to wear the trail shoes that I wear. I've been running in Ultras on trail since I started trail running 7 years ago now. Six years ago. Regis introduced me to them. I love them. I can't run on road in Ultras anymore. Zero drop doesn't really work with my foot. I have to use a heel drop, so I like Sauconys for road. But there's tons of amazing shoes out there. You gotta find what works with your foot. I love Ultras because even though they're flat, on trail that doesn't seem to bother me because you're adjusting your cadence so much. But also, I have a pretty wide, flatter foot, so there's so much space. The wide toe box, I love that. The knurling on the bottoms here, I'll show you. So the grip for trail is incredible, and they never seem to need broken in, which is something me and my friends joke about why we love them, because you can literally just buy them. So I just got this brand new pair. These are the Ultra 6s. I have no links or anything. I'm not affiliated with it. If Ultra wants to sponsor me, let me know. I'll try to link them in my Amazon page though, if you're looking for that, or use REI, but these are the new Ultra 6s, so this will be my first run breaking them in, so we'll see how they go. Bethany said that she loves them, my friend who also trails runs, so I'm excited to break these in today, and I'm not gonna lie, I think that having a new pair of trail shoes is what motivated me to get some trail action today, so we're gonna hit it. But let's kick it. Some easy trail miles, let's go. So I love getting in early season miles on easier, flatter, more runnable trail like this, and that's relative. If you're new and less experienced, you might be like, okay, let's show off. But stuff like this is very runnable, single track, easier trail running, especially considering the stuff that I run on in the past or what I train for. And so if you're training for trail races or ultras and you're getting into running, one, I love this stuff in general for a beginner, but two, I love it for early season running because it has just enough trail aspects to it. It's rooty enough, it's rocky enough to kind of start getting your trail feet accustomed to trail again. So if you don't know, trail feet are like, your feet's ability to respond to rocks and roots, and they get stronger because they'll be sore at first, but also just responding, reacting, getting used to that. And just, it's a skill. So I love this stuff for that reason. So we tend to think of like poo-pooing on the easier stuff. I mean, I get this hill because it's hard to talk and record at the same time, but a lot of the times this is a great way to either expose yourself to trail or ultra running, and or just get used to trails and gain that trail feed, especially early season, before you start driving or making your way to tougher trails if you do have those in your areas. So I like starting with this stuff because it gives you a head start on those adaptations before like the really serious harder training gets, so that when you head back out and get on harder trails, your feet and little tiny muscles and all that stuff that gets used isn't completely shell-shocked and it's kind of ready to rock and roll. Okay, so something I get asked a lot is, how do you not get lost, right? I think we get really nervous about this on local trails. So I wanna give you a really good example of this. There's a runner coming. He sounds as snotty as me. So I'm gonna let him pass. He's flying by a little faster than me. So I came into this trail where it had a little bit of a split here. And I could see how someone might get confused if you're apprehensive or you're not used to running on trails or you're just nervous, you don't really know what you're doing quite yet. And this little trail diverts off, but so does this. And you might be inclined to be, oh, that kind of looks runnable right there. But if you look, it's just kind of leading to this furnace thing that people probably want to go see, look at, I don't know, be nosy. But the way to always know the correct way that you're going is almost on every trail that you're ever going to be on, there's going to be markers. On this trail, you can see this looks way more runnable, way more used, and on the tree back there is a white trail marker. And almost every trail system ever is going to have a marker or a blaze or something on it that is going to show you the direction. So if you're ever unsure, just take a moment, pause, look, and then sometimes there are trails that intersect. And there's multiple at one location, but one will have like a white blaze and one will have a green one or one will have a blue one. And so you always just want to stick to the color of the trail that you're on. So just knowing which one is associated with the trail you're on and just kind of orienting yourself and then heading the direction. So that's a really easy tip to make sure you don't get lost in places like this. If you went the wrong way, within 3 seconds, you'd be back. So don't overthink it. You'll probably be okay. All right, so we are all done. I ran till I hit about 6 miles. I stopped to make videos and took my good old time. So we went a little over that hour target, but that's fine. I still got what I needed to get in and we felt pretty good. Like I was saying out there today, going for time is super helpful also whenever you're getting back into trail running or you're learning to trail run for the first time ever. Time on feet is really important for trail and ultra running, and you're always going to probably run less miles on trail than you will on road. So going for time and not judging yourself for your pace or how far you actually get, if you walk, if there's rocks, if you're fumbling around, just getting used to it. So that's a really helpful thing to do when you're trying to start trail running, especially if these little local trails where for some streaks they are runnable, sometimes there's uphills, just depends on your fitness level. Some people can click this stuff, some people, it's okay to hike on the uphill, but so thirsty. One of the things that I love about places like this is that the hills are usually more runnable. So if you're someone who's trying to get better at running hills on trail, it's a great place to practice. You're probably gonna overshoot your heart rate a little bit, but just like adjusting when you get to the top of the hill there, I like working that in as a way to just get your legs used to doing the trail uphills, which always feel harder than road uphills, because everything feels harder on trail. So that was my micro adventure for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned some things. If you enjoyed this, you found that it was helpful, let me know in the comments what tiny micro adventure you want to get into your local hometown. If you're training for something, let me know. If you found something super helpful, let me know below. And as always, if you want to see more of this, liking, commenting, and subscribe to my channel, where I'll hopefully be able to give you more outdoors stuff and you can follow me along and we can do all this stoke-filled, adventure-filled life stuff and learn along the way together. So don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch you in the next one.